I too am very honored to stand up here and share my testimony of what God has done in my life through his vessel ministry. We have been stationed in Montgomery, Alabama 3 different times. So I've been in and out of Montgomery, and every time I come back, I run to the vessel room. So in 2010, I took God of Order. Side note, and this is how so important this is, I lived in Georgia, and I came here twice a month to be a part of God of Order. You go where the Lord is. It taught me it taught me to be the wife and the mother that I desired to be. I was happy with phase 1. Phase 1 was good enough for me. But the Lord had another plan. He wanted me to give to others what he gave to me. He wanted me to share with others what the vessel room shared with me. And that's where it gets really humbling, because he created me for a workmanship. What? Me? I just want to do right by you, Lord. That's good enough. She asked me to lead a God of Order right here in this room. Out of obedience and out of complete gratitude, I stepped out in faith and I said, I'll do it. Now that year, the Lord had way more in store for me than I ever planned. That year, we adopted 3 little girls. That year, the Lord moved us to Mississippi. And so I went to Mississippi with 1 year of leading a God of Order Discipleship underneath my belt, and the Lord was asking more of me. I didn't know it at the time, but he did know that he had to move me away from Montgomery, his vessel ministry, in order to get me to step out in such a big way. And so I moved to Mississippi, and I had these 3 little girls, and the Lord said, you're going to homeschool them. I said, okay, Lord. And he said, yes, you're going to need me. So we started homeschooling. We got involved in a church. And it didn't take me long to realize these women don't have a his vessel ministry. These women don't have this discipleship. And that is where the Lord taught me my life scripture. I have a humongous sign in my house that says, to whom much is given, much is required. To whom much more is given, much more is required. And he hit me with that to the core. And so I stepped out in faith, doing something that I was very uncomfortable with, leading. And I decided to teach a God of Order that first year in our church family. And the Lord, through his faithfulness, began to show me that I created you for good works. I taught God of Order for 5 years in a row at our church. Again and again, the women were hungry. They were so hungry. And I can't even tell you the blessing that all that was, just to walk in obedience, just to say, here, Lord, I am, send me. The Lord is so gracious, and he means what he says, that I have created you for my workmanship to do great works. So I want to share one little last thing with you, and I hope you hear my heart on this, because it has been a blessing to lead women in the God of Order Discipleship, to pour out into them what his vessel and the Lord has poured into me. And so I want to share this with you. When we moved back to Montgomery 2 years ago, and when I left, they threw me a huge surprise party, all the ladies over the last 4 or 5 years, with lots of testimonies and lots of letters. And one of the disciples handed me a letter from her husband. And this is the letter that I want to read from her husband, because I don't have words for what it meant for me to stand out and step up in faith and do what God was calling me to do. I feel so unequipped. But the letter is, Angel, I don't know you very well, but the impact that you have made on my family through your obedience to the Lord, I hope will be felt for generations to come. Through your leadership, I noticed my wife drawing close to the Lord. Her closeness with Christ has been absolutely contagious for me and my family. God brought you into Brittany's life at a divine time through no coincidence, and he brought your godly husband into my life when I needed him the most. It is my prayer that Brittany and I follow the godly example you and your husband has set before us on a daily basis in this dark world. Thank you so much for being obedient and following the will of the Lord. Forever grateful for His glory. This husband and wife had to be obedient and walk in the Lord before this husband and wife could hear the testimony and the transformation. The scripture, to whom much is given, much is required, is not just my scripture for me. It's for all of us. So today, what is your much? What is being required? The Lord is so gracious to do great and mighty things. Thank you.